Hello.
What up?
It's Wednesday.
Yerp.
Y'all know
It
what that
is.
means.
Sounds
Rakarsha
good.
just stepped into the chat. So that's how you know that fan club has started. Welcome back, everyone. It's me, Queen PR. I'm here with some of my crew, and we're back to talk wrestling. Here on Twitch, we're going to go into some of my favorite topics: women making history and women making history in wrestling in WWE. But we're going to get into some hidden gems that we may not, talk about. We talk about Royal Rumble, WrestleMania main event, all that. We love that. But there are a lot of history that women have made in the WWE that don't get showcased because, we know how it goes. Hey, Dylan. Hey, Keith. So we'll definitely get into that. We'll get into. Oh, I wanted to talk to you guys about something. I didn't add it to the rundown, but I did want to get your opinion on something really quickly. Nothing huge. But before we get into it, we'll give people a chance to come to the club. We do have a lot going on in the TWG universe. I want to shout out my partner, KRISTA B. She's working really hard right now planning our 5th anniversary event that is happening in November. I want to say November 4th right now. But it's that season. We're getting ready. We're looking for collaborators and sponsors all the time. So just reach out to us, thosewrestlinggirls@gmail.com. This is going to be a fun one. It's probably going to be in New York City, and we definitely want everyone to be there or to be a part of the event. Can't believe, 5 years is huge to have been doing this, and I'm so happy to be doing it with my sis KRISTA B, and I hope everyone can be involved somehow. So we have that going on, so just pay attention to everything. We have new episodes of Schoolin' with KRISTA B and Pablo the Don, where Pablo educates KRISTA on some of the amazing talent out there in women's wrestling. And it's so funny because you have KRISTA B and you got Pablo, who are both really knowledgeable about wrestling, but also they're both kind of learning, vibing off each other. And it's a really, really exciting show. It releases on Patreon, but you can watch the playbacks on YouTube. So make sure you check that out. Let KRISTA B know how you're feeling it. Follow Pablo the Don on TikTok. They cover everything pop culture. We're excited to have them a part of our wrestling family. I think our dream team group chat is as lit as it's ever been. It's definitely one. I'm at work, but I read everything, and it's fun to find your wrestling family. And I think that's something that KRISTA B and I want to celebrate during our 5th anniversary. We want to celebrate everyone that's in this community and just how far everyone has gone. Fan club exclusive. Hey Vaughn. We recorded an episode with Cam, aka Seahawk, on Twitter. And it was really, really fun. Like, he's somebody that's obviously a friend, someone that's family to the show. But when you're in that element of that kind of interview sort of thing, when it turns into just a vibe and a conversation, like, that's when you really get to know people. And we all, hey, Black Thoughts, and we all think we know people that go viral on social media or people we follow on Twitter, but at the end of the day, we don't really know each other. So it's nice when we're able to get together and be in those sort of situations where we're getting to know each other. So look out for that. That'll be out on Monday. And follow us on Patreon. Lots of content. Watch Heels every Sunday. Oh, no, I'm sorry, every Friday. That's why I don't watch it.
Oh,
On Stars. No, I don't watch it live. I don't watch it.
right.
That's
I was waiting for
There
that
you go.
part.
You gotta
right. I'm
preface
like, I don't
that.
watch it live. I'm a big Heels advocate. It's hard. It's hard. Friday nights are hard for me, but it's a really good show. If you love wrestling, if you love the idea of wrestling families, Stars is so entertaining. And even if, the wrestling part aside, it's a really good drama. Brian, I know you're a fan. I think you would agree. It's a really good show, really good characters. You can relate to everything. It's sibling rivalries. It's, the entertainment business. It's small towns. It's really cool. So please check it out if you haven't already, and let them know. Tag them on Twitter. And oh yes, Black
Yeah,
Thoughts. The
Shoemaker
glory.
put me out there a couple weeks ago on The Masked Man. Said I tried to ruin it for him.
Oh really?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, bro, like he caught me off guard. He was like, yeah, we know you've seen it already. He's like, Brian trying to tell me, I tell him, shut up, no.
Oh man, sounds like Hollywood stuff. But House of Glory is this Friday in Queens. Me and Seindole will be in the building. We Queens, like, come on, come back to Manhattan. Come back to Manhattan, please. But I'll
What's
be
wrong with
there.
Queens?
It's far for me. That's all.
That's
That's
fair.
all.
That's fair.
It's just far, but we will be there. It's always a good show. Uh, Andre. Oh, send me your address, please, if you haven't already, so I can send you that. Thank you, Trish shirt. Yeah, Seahawk meeting. Wait till you guys hear the interview because we get into Wale Mania, we get into some of the quote unquote antics, but then you also get to know who Cam is as a person, and I think you're gonna look at him so differently after you listen to this coming out on Monday. Oh my gosh! See, I'm not even gonna engage Black Thoughts in his Bronx slander. I'm just gonna keep it moving.
We
And
talked about this Black
I
Thoughts. We
want
on to you.
nobody popping up from Brooklyn trying to come for me. Yeah, Seahawk was definitely one of the MVPs of Wale Mania. But yeah, again, we have a lot going on. I do want to shout out Justin, who just dropped his SummerSlam review on YouTube and it's doing numbers. Yeah. So I'm always here for growth, and I will say thank you, Dylan. The Bronx is lit. I have loved watching your growth. You made a year into content creating, I think, and you
Hmm.
have come so far from just quality to relatability on can't like you. I love the growth. Please subscribe to his YouTube channel if you haven't already, and keep it coming, Justin. Keep it coming.
I mean, the cool thing about it is just going in with no ego, just being like, bro, you have so much to learn. There's so many people that are more experienced than you. Reach out. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for advice. Don't be afraid to Google, YouTube things, learn how to improve, and just the growth. You can see it in fan club where it's like, we didn't have this nice decorated wall. We didn't have these lights. We didn't have this beautiful camera, this gorgeous mic. It's like everything is like there's steps and you can't skip steps. So like this SummerSlam review, that was like one that's like I was looking forward to like letting more of my vision come to light and just to see the reaction and just the views and everything is just like them sleepless nights are now paying off.
I
So I'm
love
just
that for
thankful and
you.
grateful and just continue to build and continue to grow.
I love that. I love that your voice is in the space. Especially like I think a tweet went viral about wrestling YouTubers, and I was like, I haven't heard of any of these people, but I know my people, and they know what they're talking about, and their recaps are lit. So definitely check it out, everyone in the club, if you haven't already. Give him a sub, and yeah, congratulations, Justin. I'm excited about
Thank
everything you
you.
have
Thank
going
you.
on. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we should, take a break and get into history in the women's division. We'll put some
Mhm.
spotlight on some things that's going on outside of the ring, which I like to do because it's that season. Charlotte Flair she was literally like 2 floors under me today at Fox doing some WrestleMania 40 press, and she looked amazing. She didn't have time for lunch. I know if she did, see, there we are. We're obviously close. You can see that she's literally handing me her championship belt. Um, I gotta say, Charlotte is one of my favorites because I have had the pleasure of kind of meeting her a couple times, which is like wild to me. And she's always so nice and so like just happy to be doing what she's doing. And you can easily kind of look at her differently from her in ring persona. You're like, oh, she's a bitch, she's entitled, she's this, she's that. She plays a heel very well when she wants to, but she couldn't be the nicest person. So
Fact.
I love seeing Charlotte Flair out there. They're doing press for that. I actually want her to like get her 15th and like beat Rick's now. Like I'm like, yes, do it, girl, do it. But I love that. I love
That
seeing
would
my girls out and about.
that would actually be amazing. It would be fun. That's a record I honestly would like to see her do at WrestleMania. But,
Hmm.
you know, maybe not this year's.
Yeah,
She might have some time, if she chooses. But I would definitely like to see her get, 17. Do it in North Carolina.
Right.
If she don't do it at WrestleMania,
Ooh.
it's Flair country. We all know she better than Rick. So I'm just saying.
Even Rick knows that she's better than Rick.
That's why I said
Yes.
I'm
Rick
like,
champions her every single time. Like, nah, she the one.
It is what it is. But yeah, let's take a break and we'll get into it. Dylan, you're hilarious. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. Go get all your friends.
So Dylan saying PR cashed in real quick, and then Charles like, yeah, I gotta go get my lick back.
On Charlotte, it tends to happen. Like
Mm-hmm. Let's go to
I can already
Don't
see
mess
that
with the queen.
being
From one queen to another.
See, just to know what's up. This moment, especially it was in front of a crowd and she came in as champion. And even though, this is Bianca's moment and if Bianca didn't win, I would have been like, what the hell? It was still, I think, a moment for Sasha, for her to be self-realized, like different gear, like everything about her, the confidence, of course she had to have an entrance. But this moment for me is probably one of my favorite Sasha moments. And I was trying to find a photo of Sasha's face and her and Bianca getting like emotional before the bell rings. And I think for just Black girls, Black women, shout out to Black Wrestling who got us the hoodie, the sweatshirts with the moment on it. But it was significant in so many different, ways. And then this being the second match that main evented WrestleMania.
But for the first Black females to do so.
Yes, exactly that. Oh, I love our Sasha series. It makes me miss her so much. But
Heal up soon, Mercedes. We need you back in this ring. There are so many people you need to
feel
face.
The hole, the emptiness that needs
These
to
ladies
be
are
by
calling you
Mercedes.
out left and right. I'm from different companies. We need you. Whatever Wolverine has in his body, use some of that healing power. We need your ass back in the ring ASAP, please. Thank you.
Nah, you're so right. Shout out to Mercedes. So I wanted to do a fan club on history that women made in WWE because it's not always going to be told in the way that it should be. There's a lot of like history that they literally just don't mention. Like if you think about the women's division in the lens of their storytelling, it was like Moolah and then Alundra Blaze for a hot second, and then Lita and Trish, maybe, and then the women's evolution. Sable. Well, I was thinking more like, I guess she wrestled, but yeah, Sable, the eye candy era, and then, but there's so many other women that stepped into the ring during those times that did make history, that fought hard for the opportunities that those women that we just mentioned were able to have. Yeah. So there's always those underrated women. There's always those moments that because it doesn't fit the narrative they want to tell, those are still wrestling moments that fans in that moment loved and appreciated and felt like it was great. So I want to talk about those moments. Yeah, Chyna. Yeah, I definitely didn't mention Chyna, and she definitely was an icon. But also, I think we can argue that she hasn't gotten her, respect that I think she should get. Like recently, yes, but she was the mold for so many different things, and it takes a level of bravery to be a pioneer, and that's why I always respect any woman that steps into the ring in that business to do whatever they do for the first time, because it's not easy.
No, facts.
Yes. Hey, Mike, my 9 to 5 buddy. Even though I'm 7 to 4, he get off late. I don't. So
speaking of late.
Speaking of late.
Speaking of, is that someone I hear coming through the door?
Yeah, somebody just arrived to the club.
I mean, they're still in the restroom. You gotta wait. Oh, they just went back out to the parking lot.
They're like, yo, I gotta go
defend Chyna until the wheels fall off.
The thing about Chyna is that this might be uncomfortable to say.
Go
I
for it.
think the fact, okay, you look at the videos. Remember, WWE's narrative was that they found her weightlifting, right? And
Right.
they found her as this big, not weightlifting, as like a bodyguard. And
Hmm.
then all of a sudden, you watch the documentary, you see she wanted to wrestle and this, that, and the other. It's almost as if she would have started wrestling the women, she probably would have went further. But
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well now you got me wrestling these dudes. Why are you trying to essentially knock me back down?
Right.
And I think that was a lot of people's issue with She Who Shall Not Be Named became the Impact World Champion because like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
one, who beats her? And then once they beat her, how do you put her in the ring with guys?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if y'all remember, there was like this, it might have been just a small corner of the IWC talking about what if Charlotte was the challenge for the Intercontinental Championship? And who would be the person to do the honors, right? And this is around the time, this is right before the pandemic. So it's think of the Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles era of the IC title. And they said,
Hmm.
like, would Daniel Bryan be somebody who would be willing to put her over? Because, we all know wrestling and wrestlers and wrestler ego, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, nah, I ain't doing all that. So it's very interesting. I think that Head China never wrestled the men that maybe I mean, obviously, there's the other factors, the Triple H of it all, and Stephanie McMahon of it all. But I think maybe it'd be more willing. We would have seen her career last longer in ring because it was fun watching her wrestle Ivory. Like I enjoyed that match, especially when
Me
she finally
too.
beat her at WrestleMania, and then her match with Lita was probably the only good match on Judgment Day that year because Judgment Day 2001 was a wash, or maybe it was Backlash, but it sucks. And yeah, I definitely agree she should be in the Hall of Fame. We all know why she's not, and it's not
It's
because of
okay.
the three X's.
Yeah, but she definitely made an impact. She definitely made history. We let's get into it. Her entering Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
That at the time, like how I remember how my reaction watching this live, like like it just felt so like you felt like it was a moment.
Yeah, and the thing is, I remember just the build up. There was the way she was booked in '99. You felt she could win not only the
Mm-hmm.
Royal Rumble, you also felt she could win. And mind you, let me full disclaimer: I'm 14 years old, no internet. I'm enjoying wrestling the way it's presented to me. And I'm thinking, wait, she could actually win this thing. 13, she could actually win this thing. Or even at we talked about like previous episodes, her build up with Mick Foley and into
Mm-hmm.
SummerSlam 1999. And when she took Triple H's spot, and Triple H was basically saying, "Oh, you're not a man. You can't handle this." And she challenged his manhood because, and just like the King of the Ring that year, you felt she could win those things because she was out there making history.
And then just to piggyback off of that, you see her impact after that, where you get Beth Phoenix in the Rumble, you get Nia Jax in the Rumble, and it's just her distinct look and her distinct like body type, where it's like, for me personally, China's in my Mount Rushmore because of the
Mm-hmm.
fact that she's very unique and she stands out, and there's like not really someone you can compare her to, but then she also paves the way for those Beth Phoenixes, your Rhea Ripley's, where it's like, I don't have to look like a model, I don't have to come from athletic backgrounds or Division 1 like a Charlotte or Bianca, I don't have to come from wrestling in the indies and growing my name like a Sasha or a Becky. I can have like this distinct, like, yo, I actually like lifting weights. I actually like putting up like 225, 300 on the bench, 400 squat, and I can just go out there and whoop your ass.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah, China's the goat.
Yeah,
China's the goat.
absolutely.
So I also want to talk about. Also, it's an excuse to talk about Trish Stratus
Did you thank her
because
today?
I did. I did. I
Good,
wake
good,
up. I
good.
thank God for waking me up, and then I thank Trish.
Hmm.
Mm.
Good, good.
I think
See,
that should be the order of things.
That's why we here.
There you go,
But
Justin.
let's talk about her.
I said my thing there because I was like, all right, I love you, Trish, and everything, but I mean, this Monday night match, yo, like, what was going on? That wasn't it. That was just hella clunky with her and Becky. And I was just like, we waited 2 weeks for this, but
What
then
was
it's
wrong
like,
with
all
it?
right,
It was a fight. Everything don't got to be collar and elbow. It was a fun fight.
it was a sloppy fight, and that's putting it nicely.
I mean, I ain't
But
getting it right. I thought it was. I enjoyed it. The story
but
continues.
but that's the thing. The story continues, so it's like, all right, we didn't end it on a bad note, like a possible Ronda and Shayna. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, we're gonna extend this out to where now this could possibly be a cage match, and now they get to put the bow on this feud like how they want it. It's like, all right, cool. This was just one of those footnotes where it's like, this wasn't it. But people have off days in wrestling. Not You're not gonna always get someone on their A day. You know,
Mm.
LeBron has had bad games. Jordan has had bad games. It happens.
Wow. I mean,
That's what I was.
I looked at it as fun when I rewatched it,
Mm-hmm.
but I can see maybe why you guys are saying that, and I think it might be to like Mike's point, kind of the same thing with her heel turn, where at first it didn't really hit because we felt like it was too late, like it should have been like maybe at Mania or maybe like the Raw after.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'm just interested to see how this story goes. Right? I think about Brock Lesnar, Undertaker. Um, Everybody that night was like, that something was off with that match, right? Nobody says that no more. If you notice about that match at
Mm,
WrestleMania 30, because everybody found out Undertaker had a concussion. Sometimes you do find out stuff, but and it makes you change your mind. But I don't know. I didn't think it was a bad match. I mean, and I know I'm a Trish Stratus mark. She's in my top 10 pro wrestlers, not just women's wrestlers, pro wrestlers, period. So, she can almost do no wrong for me. But I just like I'm happy to see that this is going to continue. And, because I want to see her and Charlotte run it back. I want to see her and Becky. I'm not ready for Trish Stratus to go home, and I hope her kids
yes,
aren't
ma'am.
ready for her to come home either.
Maybe it might just be time for her to move on to another feud.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, the crowd was kind of flat. That has a lot to do with it too, which is
Hmm.
why I respect the wrestlers that were wrestling with no crowd. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
that takes a real pro. But yeah, Trish, she, arguably the greatest to ever do it, the greatest woman to ever do it in WWE. She really took being a sports entertainer, I guess, became a wrestler, is able to do all of that. She's definitely up there. Of course, her and Lita making history, main eventing
Mm-hmm.
Raw. They definitely talk about that a lot. And I can only imagine that feeling of just having like learned more about the business and like,
Mm-hmm.
listening to podcasts and stuff like that. And, my family being, wrestlers, going in and seeing that you're the main event. Like I can only imagine that feeling that you might have where it's like, wait, we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And Triple H said it best at the press conference. Like, it's not about whether you're a woman or a man or whatever. If your story is the main event, you're the main event. There's no art, there shouldn't be any argument or any clause of whether that's the case. And Trish and Lita's rivalry was it granted that, and everyone was into it. It was a big match. It was a big moment for Lita as well. Were you guys watching live when this happened? Because I feel like I might have been right out of it.
My senior year of high school. I remember this.
Mm,
Just being a fan of Trish Stratus, no matter whether she was a babyface or heel, especially by the time by the time I was a teenager, once I was like locked in on a wrestler, that was it. Um, and I really I'm glad it main evented because it was a big deal. You look at everything women's championship. That's why I always look at that black and red title. I know Jacqueline was the first to hold it, but to me that's the Trish Stratus belt, and then
mm,
Lita as well. And granted, you got your Victorias of the world and your Mickey James of the world, but I think Trish and Lita, it starts with them, and just their rivalry. Just when you think back to the stuff with Kane, when Lita was married to Kane or get ready to have the wedding, and Trish comes out there in that iconic nightgown. um, but it was just like everything about it, and you said like another reason why like I look at Trish Stratus as the top 5. Let's be real, right? She's sexy, and when you look at the perfect, like the way women look at Roman Reigns, right? The way men been looking at Trish, everything, not just because of the look. It's like, okay, yeah, you're gonna look at her because she looks, but you're also gonna look at her because she can wrestle. Same like the way we look at The Rock back in the day. It's like, oh yeah, he looked good and he's skilled. They're not one dimensional. And the same thing can go with Lita. She has a different type of sex appeal. But for her to make that transition, and you see that, like, especially around 2005, 2006, when she said, like, she stopped wearing the shorts, she wore the pants. And that's the reason why she's always going to be on my Mount Rushmore. And you look at Lita, and my goodness, like when I was looking for photos, it's always that one, you know what I'm talking about, when she she broke her neck, and it was like, and for her to finish the match,
insane.
we so quick to talk about Triple H, and rightfully so. Triple H finishing the match with a quad injury, right? We so quick to talk about Kurt Angle winning the Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck. But did y'all hear Paul Heyman, by the way, when he said he typed this with a broken freaking thumbnail? When Kurt I know, sidetrack. Kurt Angle said that he basically think Paul Heyman was lying when he said the bloodline is in the bottom of the third. He said they're probably in the bottom of the eighth. And so he said they're scared because it's so much, and they trying to figure out how do we keep this going. And then he responded with a whole dissertation, Paul Heyman that is, and he said, and I typed all this with a broken freaking thumbnail.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Paul
but
thinking slick.
But yeah, I was just wanted to say, we got to give Lita her props too, winning, the title with a broken freaking neck.
Right. That's a moment I want to talk about really quickly, because I've been watching a lot of things, and a lot of qualities that's admired in men in wrestling. When women do it, it's a bad thing.
Yep.
And like with Triple H, how many injuries has he wrestled through? Like horrendous injuries he's wrestled through. And it's like a badge of honor. And it's like for Lita, like she just did what every wrestler does.
Yeah.
Like having, I don't remember who I was talking to. We were saying how like Lita really had to, like, she had to deal with a lot as a woman that doesn't get like talked about, like a lot of sacrifices that she had to make. And there's a lot of times where she like kind of wasn't with the shits. But again, she advocated for her character on television just like any other man would in wrestling, but it almost kind of like worked against her. And that's why I want to always make sure like we, Trish is amazing, but also like Lita kind of like made it. No, I don't. This might be controversial.
Look, go ahead. I want to hear this.
I feel like she kind of like made it easier for even Trish to do what she was doing.
As far as in the ring?
Yeah.
I mean, wrestling is a dance. You always need a partner.
Lita probably, like kind of like, sorry to interrupt you, Justin, like kind of like that first child syndrome. Like I feel like Lita had to deal with a lot of the hard shit so that it was easier for Trish to do it. And because Trish is blonde and busty, it just kind of worked out better.
1,000%. 1,000%. When you look back at everything you just said, like that shouldn't be controversial at all. Like that's common sense if people don't understand, because of for every reason you just said. You know what I mean? There's no Shawn Michaels without Bret Hart. Bret Hart had to pave the way. And as we talked about this plenty of times, Bret says in his book, Shawn came up to him and thanked him when he became world champion because of the fact that he made a way. I know. Is he in the box? Is CM Punk in the box? Let's say he's not.
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know Seindol's a fan, and Seindole will not be joining us tonight. So send her some love.
Absolutely. We know CM Punk has his issues, But without a shadow of a doubt, and this is, I'm going to say this about my favorite wrestler. He doesn't get to the heights, Daniel Bryan, without CM Punk doing what he had to do, So I 100% agree, 1,000%. It was Macho Man said World War III, 1,000,000% agree with you when you say that. Lita had to go through everything. You think about when she was out there hitting moonsaults on, with and then joining the Hardys. No, when she was with S.A. Rios, I'm pretty sure those people said, "Man, come on, she can't be doing that because it doesn't look as special when I do it."
I'm
And then her mixing it up with the guys and everything. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
it's 1000%. And just to piggyback off it, like there's a reason why the running joke is Vince has a type, because it's like, bro, from the 90s all the way on, it's always white, it's always blonde, it's usually busty, it's usually supermodel, playboy model, pinup model type, where you tend to go for that. And the leaders are the flip side of that. Where it's like they kind of got to work a little harder. They got to prove themselves a little more. They got to take more chances. They got to take more risks. They got to fight more backstage in order to get on TV. But, it's like I said before, it's like a dance. It's like you always need a partner. Shawn needed Brett. Hogan needed Savage and Andre the Giant. Trish needed Lita because Trish can't do it by herself, because then, she can't wrestle herself. And even during the Attitude Era, as much as we loved them, it was still like, we love Trish, but it was more sexual. It wasn't really like, yo, I actually want to see Trish like wrestle. Like
Speak
that
for
took
yourself.
time. Hey, I was watching live just like you, but it was also like, there's a reason why she was paired up with T and A. And that wasn't just like, I get the joke. It's like, nah, it's like she had to prove herself little by little to like, all right, let's see her wrestle. Okay, let's see her wrestle and get some time. Let's extend the time. Let's put her with a feud. And the same one with Lita. You know what I'm saying? So
I see where Wealth Warrior's going. The Gail Kim and Awesome Kong. The only reason why I would question that is because we saw Gail Kim successful in WWE before she went to TNA. If anything, I might say it'd be the opposite. That to kind of solidify her, Awesome Kong, that is. But we saw Gail Kim she came in her first match, she beat Trish Stratus for the title. So that already shows you where they was with her.
That's huge.
But again, because of the issues and the beef that
oh my
she
god,
has,
I feel like I didn't know that. Like
it's a forgotten fact.
Yeah, we got to do
something new.
we got to do a Gail Kim episode.
She's somebody who, unfortunately, because that she left and then like, all right, I'm gonna come back and try to give this again, and then it still didn't work out. Unfortunately, it's it's so unfair.
It's one of those things.
Yeah, she deserves her flowers.
She does.
Definitely.
She does. I didn't realize that, and and it's disappointing because then it was like, wow, at some point y'all were high on her, and y'all just kind of like fumbled the bag real quick. Speaking of that era, I want to talk about Beth Phoenix. She was in my blonde spot. I learned about her later on.
Correction. She won it in a battle royal, but Trish was in the match. Jazz was the champion. Sorry, I know we're going back on YouTube. Everybody gonna be in the comments.
Oh my god, you're not a wrestling expert? You don't know every single wrestling fact ever?
No.
I'm shocked.
It's like, come on, Hollywood, you gotta fact check yourself.
I am shocked. I assume that everyone that likes wrestling should know everything. Sorry, I get mansplained a lot, so I had to.
Yeah, that's so sickening.
I had to talk shit.
They won't do it in front of me and Justin.
No, I don't.
They know better, because I bite back. Pause.
You just mansplained her? They're like, okay, yeah. Right. I mean, we know you can handle your own, but
nah, we got you. Anybody that's
do you need me to hand you a chair?
Oh my god!
Hey, New Day style.
Yo, did y'all see Xavier was braids though?
Park your boat.
Hilarious.
Park your boat. Move your boat.
Yo, what's that song? We gotta add that song to the repertoire, yo. Seriously.
Oh man, oh man.
Oh shit. Yo, thank you, Andre. I love it. I love it. I love it. But I want to talk about Beth Phoenix.
Let's talk about Beth Phoenix.
Because like I said, she was in my blind spot and I learned about her, and I feel like if she would have I don't want to diminish anything she accomplished when she was in the company. But she was so ahead of her time. Her and Natalia were so ahead of their time. And just the fact that she was able to be in the division at the same time as Nattie, having idolized the Hearts as much as she did, I can't think of anything better. And then them being able to tag team later on, and like Brett, like bringing them out, I can't think of. Love it. But she made a lot of history.
Yeah,
she was kind of like, you think about Chyna, then you think about Beth Phoenix. She also entered the Royal Rumble. She was definitely looked at a little differently than the other women. She was able to kind of mix that whole like looking good, being, sexy, but also I'm strong as fuck and I will beat the shit out of you vibe, which I love. But she made history with Melina, who is also another woman that came through WWE that made a huge impact that doesn't get enough love from the company. Shout out to her appearance at Royal Rumble that year. That was super cool. That split off with Mercedes.
That's what we've been waiting for.
I think about that daily for sure.
Yeah. Shit, Sasha went to a fucking specialist to learn how to do the splits for a couple of months just so she could do that.
Facts.
That's how iconic Melina's splits are.
Right, and then to do it like, it was so good. Yo, he did look like
Hey yo, Dylan's chill,
the good burger, home of the good burger. May I take your order?
Therefore, nobody shall ever say that me and Xavier Woods look alike.
You and who?
Xavier Woods.
Yo, you can compare to any black guy with dreads.
Between him and Cedric Mullins of the Orioles, yo, it's like if you go in the Ring of Wrestling TikTok, and I was on there with Rosenberg, and they was like, "Oh, we thought that guy was Xavier Woods." They even said it in the cheap heat emails. I'm like, bro,
that's hilarious. You should use that to your. Well, you already get recognized, but you should use that as like to your advantage.
Brian Hollywood Waters, aka Xavier Woods tethered.
We are
put that on LinkedIn and everything.
I saw him in Nashville. I ain't gonna say where because I'll never hear the end of it. But we was kind of about the same height. You got maybe an inch taller than me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
dope. So that means we're probably the same height. Nice.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like if Xavier doesn't feel like wrestling, be like, yo, Brian, feel like coming through? It's like, got you.
Tag you in.
Twin magic.
Whatever. Like by the time they did with Kurt Angle and his brother, to get Lesnar, and Kurt Angle, like Brock was beaten, and then he realized, like, wait a minute, and then all of a sudden Kurt Angle got in there and beat him up.
Yeah, imagine if you were on Raw with New Day, and it's like Xavier, Kofi, and then you. Kofi's in the middle. He's just losing his mind because, like, which one is the real Xavier Woods? Please stand up.
Yo,
WWE, if you end up using that, TWG needs a check.
Hell yeah. We know y'all be watching.
No, I'm not letting them use it because then they're gonna be like, no, we're not giving you the check. We'll give Brian the check. You know how they do, divide and conquer. But we stay strong.
That's true. I learned that from the New Day.
Yeah.
But did y'all know that was the first women's I Quit match? Because I feel like they tried to say that it was something in NXT, and I know a lot of like Diva fans always like correct them, but I wasn't aware that they had an I Quit match and it was the first one. Do y'all remember this?
I was watching at the time, but a lot of wrestling between 2006 and 2010, honestly, if it is outside of WrestleMania season, I'm watching it out of habit. So it's like I'll remember spots. But to actually like remember like the build up and the stories behind it, I can't say like I remember every single thing, but I can tell you one thing, like you said about Beth Phoenix, ahead of her time. And yeah, she put some time in WWE. I really wish that everything that she fought for, she could have seen. And I'm glad that she did get to come back. And it's one thing I'm gonna give Edge credit for it. Edge used to be in my top 10, but he came back. He probably should have stayed away. But I'm gonna give credit for where credit's due. He said one of the reasons why he wanted to like extend that feud with the Judgment Day was just to see Rhea and Beth mix it up more. And I'm like, I can deal. I can dig
Okay,
that.
but
like
bro, we don't need you for Beth to come back too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, girl,
The man wanted to wrestle with his wife. What's wrong with that?
I'm saying, okay, but why is that the only reason you're coming back? Like, come back solo, mix it up with everybody.
I do wish Beth would come back and get back with Rhea, because this would be perfect, because Rhea's been dominating everybody, and maybe that's where they're going. You know, maybe that's
They
where
have
they're
that
going.
card in their back pocket whenever they want to pull it, and then Beth could be like, "Yo, there's been a receipt long overdue for you,"
because she never beat her. Every time I thought that they would, you know, she would in like the tag matches, you know, she hasn't. So I was, and then she already beat the mess out of Natalya. That's her best friend. Come on, Beth. We want Beth Phoenix back.
Come on, Beth. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Dylan. Like, that might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't need Edge to come back and win big matches. Like, I want you to do what you did with the Judgment Day. You gave them your rub. You had that. I think Finn should have won that.
Wait, what?
She was like, "Yo, Edge came back and gave Judgment Day that rub." I was like, "Pause."
That is a wrestling term. That is. Fine,
On this day, I see clearly.
He saw clearly. Them hands got to rubbing.
No. But see, I didn't.
Just for that, the Yankees just gave up a double.
I think it has something to do with Edge packing it up. Now they about to celebrate 25 years on SmackDown. That shit probably gonna be like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
See, Dylan knows what's up. That's why he VIP in the club.
We said that, you know, we said that right here in the club then, and we say it again 6 months later. They should not have won that match.
Why?
Mike funny. No.
See, Mike, he do love him some Edge. This is good. This is good.
Yeah,
shit.
that's it. That's what I was talking.
That's good shit. Me and Letty were actually in the building when Beth Phoenix got RKO'd. And it was a beautiful thing. I just, because it's shocking because women don't get the finishers usually. So like when it happened, like even though it's like, okay, RKO, I was like, oh shit, this is about to get real.
I wonder if he went up to him beforehand and threatened him like Macho Man did before Jake slapped Elizabeth.
If you fucking hurt my lady, I'm gonna fuck you up, yo.
I mean, but it's Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix can handle her own. I'm like, yo, Randy, I'll pick you with one fucking arm.
She can Edge up if she has to.
Exactly, because Edge be saying it like, yo, I am strong as Beth. Like, Beth is just like leagues above me. So it's like, Edge is probably like, yo, you know my wife can handle hers.
She had
you fuck up, she gonna be like, glamazon.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like somebody, I'm glad she does get her flowers in the WWE universe. You know, but I mean, like I said, that mid 2000s, there's a lot of women like you know, we talked about, you know, Gail Kim, Mickie James, Beth Phoenix, like Natalya, and shoot, even Candice Michelle. Candice Michelle, I'm gonna put her in there. I'm gonna put Maurice in there. Like, them ladies deserve their flowers as well, you know, even because with their 2 or 3 minutes, and it wasn't always 2 or 3 minutes, but with their 2 or 3 minutes, they were still doing their thing. We're not gonna act like I was going to shows here and there. There were still little girls that was fans of theirs, you know, and I think a lot of times, and there's no disrespect to the women now, you know, we know they're role models, right? But there was still little girls that was fans of Beth Phoenix, you know. 100%. So, you know, we definitely gotta give them their props. You know, like I said, you know, them going out there doing what they did. You know, and there was some incredible storylines, you know. You know, even with like AJ and Caitlyn later on.
Yep.
And if not for them doing that, they don't give you the templates for those girls now to where like, oh, let's do an I Quit match. Well, what do we go back and reference? Boom, you pull up the Beth Phoenix match. You have matches that you can reference. Be like, all right, we can use this as a template and remix it to what we want to put our little, our little
Yeah,
thing on it.
yeah, definitely Candice Michelle. I'll say this about Candice Michelle. She was one of the first few women to do Playboy and not be played out afterwards. Like there was
Ooh.
still this like, nah, I still want to see her on my TV every day. Like let's be real, after Sable, it was like afterwards, it's like, all right. When Sable, in my opinion, messed up when she left and came back because then we had Trish Stratus, Tori Wilson, Stacy Keibler. It was like you're not special anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But and even when they did the dual shoot with her and Tori, it still was but Candice Michelle, she still found a way, and like Andre said, was the top baby face, one of the top baby faces on Raw. And Layla and Michelle McCool, they cool. The stuff they was doing with the tag titles,
Oh
shoot, they
yeah,
still
that was
use that on the
classic.
bump. The cutting the belts up.
That was so classic.
I mean, I said tag titles. Y'all know what I meant. Women's title, making it
Mhm.
theirs. The women's tag team tables match was them against Nattie and Beth Phoenix. And then look, if you can see in the photo, they had special customized tables.
See, a lot of people would think that it's kind of like condescending, but I think those pink tables are iconic. Like those are fire to me. I think one thing too that's so like fascinating and why I love like doing TWG is because there's a lot of things that I feel are taken as like degrading, but there's a lot of power in feminine things. So I feel like the pink table makes it more iconic of a first tables match than not. Like in hindsight, because you look up now, like the Barbie movie, how iconic pink is. It kind of like literally revitalized the brand because it was always looked at as something else, but they took pink and now we're kind of like owning it. And I'm looking back at this pink table and I love it. I'm like, this is exactly the kind of thing you want to do. And the other part of it too, the I Quit match, the tables match is the physicality.
Yeah.
Like there's always this like, oh, women, they can't handle it, oh, they don't want to see women do moonsaults, they don't want to see women do this, they don't, but they're in these matches, like going through a table ain't easy, whether it's pink, black, brown, whatever the fuck, that shit ain't easy. Doing an I Quit match, you have to take each other to the limit, and these women did that.
I'm
And
glad you
sometimes
said that.
tables don't break. I mean, as someone that watches New Japan, sometimes them
So
tables be like, I am the table. And, you put someone through the table and table fights back like, nah, we ain't breaking today. There goes your back.
One of the things is I'm so glad you brought that up, Queen PR, because even as I like to consider myself somebody who always gonna support women, supports women's wrestling. I tell my daughter she can do anything, right? There are still certain things that I'm just not going to understand or can relate to, right? I'm not gonna say either way how it would have felt. Like, I don't remember how I felt when I saw the table. It's like, oh, it's cool, you know what I mean? But for you to be able to say, and this is the reason why women, especially black women, are needed in this wrestling space. For you to say exactly what you said, that's looked at as empowering. You know what I mean? It's even like when the ladies now, like your Maria Kanellis, defend the Divas belt, the butterfly title. You know what I mean? And defend the term divas. You know what I mean? Yeah, some guys sometimes like, okay, I gotta be so like girl power, and we're gonna be super, make sure we like so supportive that we not realizing like, okay, yeah, make equal. Not saying it's not, but like, okay, but maybe they like this part, or maybe like that part. You know what I mean? The term diva should not be. Well, I mean, the song says diva is a female version of a hustler.
right.
And I said because my sister used to play that over and over and over. It was actually her ringtone for when she would call me back then, because that was like her favorite song. You know what I mean? So a lot of stuff doesn't always have to be condescending, and that's the reason why it's important. You know, it's just like when we say you got to have a black person in the room. You need to have a black woman in the room just as much, not just one black man in the room. You need to have both, a black man and a black woman in the room. You know, quite frankly, need every race and every situation, in my
That
opinion.
part.
You know.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely think you know, they was out there and like Justice said, I mean, regardless of what, pre-cut or not, that stuff hurts.
Right.
You know, and I can promise you, I'm gonna say this last point. I promise you, when I was watching wrestling with my family growing up, with my dad and my uncles and my mother, nobody never said this, even during the Attitude Era, you know, be on in the kitchen, UPN, Thursday night. Nobody never said we don't want to see a woman doing a moonsault. When Lita would come out there, only thing my uncle said, I remember vividly said he ain't like the way her thong hung out.
I
he's
think
like,
a lot of other people did like it.
yeah, he was like, I don't like it. And knowing him, he probably would rather not have it on, just, you know, just the thong. But may he rest in peace. But I promise you, I know for a fact he didn't say, no, women shouldn't be doing that. Because we would sit there and watch wrestling together, and we would always be in tune to all the matches. It's just unfortunate this small minority that has the big pen that was always in control of that.
Boom. There it is.
Facts. You're 100% right. Speaking of tables, that was the first women's tag team tables match, but the first singles one was in the modern era, in the women's evolution era, and it was Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. Now, was this a championship match?
Yes, it was. This was at TLC, and this was for the SmackDown Women's title. You know, Becky became your inaugural SmackDown Women's Champion after they had the brand split in 2016. Eventually, they started building up Alexa Bliss, you know, 5 Feet of Fury. They've been having a nice, long, simmering feud going into TLC. This was the first stipulation match for a TLC pay-per-view for the women. And then you have a tables match to boot. This was hard hitting, and then in the end, Alexa Bliss becomes champion for the very first time by putting Becky Lynch through the table. Solid match.
I'm gonna say this. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
This feud really helped establish Becky Lynch the first time. Because like we knew she could go on NXT, but she was always kind of like left away. You know what I mean? Everybody had the belt except her. You know, and she was the only one on Raw where Sasha and Charlotte was on. I mean, on SmackDown, Sasha and Charlotte was on Raw. This feud, in my opinion, is what helped her get to, you know, that WrestleMania match for the title. I mean, yeah, this is one of the feuds that helped her get there. Yeah, you know, with Naomi. Like to me, she was always kind of like the third fiddle. Now, granted, she would take a few steps back before ultimately hitting that rise again. But I think this was kind of that feud that when they was whoever was pitching for her to be the man or get into that spot, they were saying, go back and look at the feud with Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, and then just to add to that, like this is where she shined away from Charlotte and Sasha. Like Brian put it perfect. It's like when they came up, all the hype and all the buzz went to Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair's daughter. She's gonna be the one that eventually dethrones Nikki Bella for the longest Divas champion. She goes on her long, lengthy reign of herself. And then you have Sasha that's coming off of the match in Brooklyn. We're spending an entire year like, yo, we want Sasha. When are we gonna get Sasha in this title match? And then Becky kind of became the forgotten one in that third person, especially when Bayley was still tearing it up in NXT with Asuka. So when they separated her from Charlotte and Sasha, that was like the best thing that could happen to Becky at that time. And then also the timing of Alexa was finding her groove. She was finding herself on the mic. She found her character. She was getting over like Rover, to where when they started feuding, it was just like finally Becky had a dance. Not only was giving Becky a chance and giving Becky the title, but they're giving her a dance partner that could help bring the best out of Becky. And they really just helped each other like elevate, to where by the time that feud was over, it was like, damn, Becky's no longer champion, but she helped establish Alexa Bliss on Bliss's reign of terror that would go on for the next 2 years. But Becky was the person that kind of set that groundwork for, yo, Alexa could be a champion and a dominant champion at that.
Facts.
Yeah. And I liked it too because it warranted it. Because I think table matches, like stipulation matches, I think they should be like a payoff for big things. So I felt like because Alexa Bliss was on this reign of terror, I was like, yeah, give them a tables match. And I think it was well executed. It was a physical match.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time we got it, and we're gonna get a lot of women going through tables and stuff in the future, but I like that they were able to kind of set that tone, and SmackDown was so fun in that time too.
It was.
Like after Becky won it, and then that feud and Mickey James being involved, like it was a fun time.
And the cool thing is, in that match, you see they play to each other's limitations because it's like,
Right.
Alexa's only so
She
big,
was
so
very
strong.
green
So
at
it's
that
like,
point.
yeah, it's like, how do we do it to where Alexa can put Becky through a table and make it look realistic? Well, let's set it up on the outside to make it
Mm-hmm.
easier.
Yep.
Right. Oh yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
That
which
was
is like, that's very creative because I didn't even think of
yeah.
that.
No, that was a good look, and it's a good visual too. Because as soon as I like read it on our rundown, I pictured that image of Becky Lynch going through the table.
Mm-hmm.
So just keeping it in sort of the women's evolution vein, let's get into Sasha Banks and Bayley. I
Mm.
think when you
Ooh.
think of women making history, you can't help but think of these two. They have, I think, every woman that has been signed to WWE in the last like 5 years has said that they were inspired by this match, this feud. I was my life changed after watching a lot of the things that they were doing in NXT during this time. But they had the first Iron Woman match. Do you know the talking about physicality, the stamina, the ability to entertain a crowd for that long, to make finishes interesting and creative and not predictable? Izzy, shit, she just made her fucking wrestling
Mm-hmm.
debut. So much
Mm-hmm.
happened in this moment. Like, can you guys talk about the magic that you guys felt watching this?
Hell yeah. Like, my first initial thought was, how are they going to follow Brooklyn? Because Brooklyn was so
Mm-hmm.
iconic. Brooklyn was
Right.
so, like, newsworthy. It was so, like, yo, you gotta pull up this pay per view. You gotta pull up Sasha and Bayley, take over Brooklyn. This is the match. If you're ever going to get into women's wrestling, this is it. And then it's like, all right, how are you gonna follow that? And I think this was at a time where they were doing that NXT show where they were following behind the scenes, where you see Triple H actually, holler at Sasha and Bayley, be like, yo, let's try to run this back. The next NXT takeover, you guys gonna be the main event. We're gonna do an Iron Man match. And the cool thing is, you saw Sasha do double duty on the main roster and come back down to NXT, but they made that into a story too of like, how
Mm-hmm.
are you training for this? Sasha trying to get her cardio up, doing everything to make sure like, yo, I gotta go 60 minutes, and Bayley doing the same thing. And
Right.
then just they took the physicality of Brooklyn and took it to like another level with the Iron Man match. But then they paced it out so well. Sasha doing everything she can to get that belt back, Bayley trying to do everything to hold on to it, Sasha
Mm-hmm.
making Izzy a part of the story and making her cry, which is still like one of the few things I love going back to. Is just like, because that legit happened where she just made her cry her eyes out, and Sasha just like rubbing it in. It's just like, fucking yes. Sorry, Izzy, but yes. You go take all of it. Take all of it. I want the
Such an
tears. I want the
iconic
tears.
moment.
But it
Such
was
an
something that was
iconic.
just like, by the time that match was over, it's like that was a quick hour. Like it flows really good. There's no lull at all. Bailey standing tall, and it was just like, yo, they somehow fucking matched the Brooklyn match. They did the
Yeah.
impossible. And then at the end of that, for Triple H, Sarah D'Amato, the entire locker room did not just come out. They give Sasha her flowers, her proper send off. Triple H goes into the ring, gives Bayley her flowers, her proper just due. And it's like, that was a true changing of the guard. Because you already had Charlotte and Sasha
Mhm.
and Becky on the main roster, but now like Sasha's gone. Now Bayley is going to be leading this new crop in, which is going to be not too long after this. That's when Asuka makes her debut. You're gonna
Mhm.
have Bayley and Nia Jax at some point. You still have Dana Brooke down there, but now we're transitioning from the Four Horsewomen and Alexa, who are now on the main roster doing. Or Alexa will come later, but like, you have the Four Horsewomen, the rest of them on the main roster, but now we're gonna go Bayley in this direction. So it's
Yep.
like a changing of the guard at the same time.
Yeah, the thing is, I always said this about that feud. They could have sold the product to USA with this. At the time, NXT is
Mm-hmm.
exclusive is on WWE Network. They was
Yep.
doing so well with that core group. Not and not just the men. Obviously, you had Shinsuke hadn't got there. You had Kevin Owens. You had Finn Balor. Um, but the women, the women could have. So I mean, FTR was there,
Mm-hmm.
which is like crazy to think now. But like you
American
had,
Alpha.
yeah, your superstars, but the women right there, you could have led programs with the women saying, going to the upfront saying, hey, NBC Universal, we want to pitch this. We give us 2 hours on Tuesday night. That's how good this feud was.
I absolutely agree. And it makes me miss that time when everything was like breaking ground. Like when I was reading over the notes for this fan club about women making history, like I couldn't help but think of like ceilings and like how they broke the ceilings and how giving the women the opportunities to make history, it opened up a whole new like phase of wrestling now, because now there's still first that women still need to do in wrestling. Like that's so exciting. And to see, like, we literally seen it live happening, like Asuka, like her coming was a game changer. Her
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
having like, those sort of physical matches, like her matches with Ember Moon, I feel like her and Nikki Cross, did they have a history making match in NXT?
With Asuka, no, but then again, Asuka's never had a bad match. I've always said, like,
That's true.
honestly, if I did like my women's wrestling Mount Rushmore, it would be 5, and Asuka would have to be on it because Asuka, like you said, she was such a game changer. She brought a physicality, international vibe that everyone respected,
Yep.
well renowned, but everyone
Mm-hmm.
loved, and it made everyone kind of like level the fuck up.
1,000%. Because if
Yeah, I
you're gonna step
remember.
in the ring, you got to bring it.
Yeah, I remember before before I even knew who Asuka was, right? I found out about her through Mia Yim's Twitter, and this is Ring of Honor Mia Yim.
Mm.
She and shout out to Black G's. They would always talk about Connor, and they was like, get excited, like, oh yeah, we can't wait. Connor's wrestling this and that. So of course, I do my research. I'm like, oh, okay, and this is the early days where you could see a handful of wrestling on YouTube, but you would get Shimmer. You had to like find like the torrents for it and stuff. But it was like when she got there, you knew immediately it was a big deal. I wish
Mhm.
Miko Satomura was the same because I want to see Miko Satomura and Asuka. That's a match that I
Mm-hmm.
want to see. Um, we talked about it one night on the Wrestling Room. Dwayne said, "Bro, if they did the match, nobody else would be able to follow, because they would just go out there and kill each other." He
Yep.
said, like, who else, like, how do you follow up with that? But I mean, NXT right there, but NXT, you cannot tell the history of the black and gold brand without the women. Bottom
Right,
line, there's no ifs, ands,
right.
or buts about it. You might can get away in the golden era. You shouldn't, but you might can get away in the golden era without talking about Cyndi Lauper and um, Leilani Kai and Wendi Richter. You shouldn't, but you probably can, right? You can probably the new generation era. You can get away with talk without talking about Alundra Blaze.
Right.
You cannot get away and talk about the black and gold era without mentioning all the women that paved the way and set the
Yep.
tone for the future generations.
That's so
Exactly.
true.
By the time the horsewomen make it up to the main roster, you finally have women main eventing shows. The
Hmm.
Sasha Bayley Ironman match is the first time you have a main event for the women in WWE's history, period, on an actual like pay per view or NXT show. Like that was a big deal. It was
Hmm.
like, wait, you've had Trish and Lita, you've had Chyna, you have this and that. This is the first? Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Also, one Asuka was involved in too, the first tag team TLC match with Charlotte and Becky versus the Kabuki Warriors
Oh
during the
yeah.
TLC pay per view, and I think they main evented that, and then like the next December as well. I believe that they main evented maybe with a triple threat or something. But I know Asuka ended up winning the championship at one of those matches. But those are
Hmm.
both firsts in the division.
I love the Kabuki Warriors, man.
I
Me
did.
too. They're like my favorite. Like they were my favorite thing. Shout out
You
to
know,
the
you got to give them credit too. As much as we give Sasha and Bayley credit for holding it down during the pandemic, you got to give the Kabuki Warriors credit as well. You know, because like we mentioned earlier in the show, dance partners. You got to have dance partners. You know, and like Vaughn said, you know, Sasha and Bayley are dance partners, but you know, they also had other dance partners, and the Kabuki Warriors were great. Word on the street, one of them may be on their way back.
if she
I
comes
would
back,
love to
that'll
see
be
her
the best
back.
thing of life.
I mean, I remember the tag team match. It was solid, but it's one of those we don't talk about it anymore because that was the one that unfortunately Kyrie got concussed. And they were still, you know,
Oh,
they were
right.
trying to protect her, but they were also like still hitting spots while she may have been concussed. So it's one of those where it's like, yeah, the less we say about
That
that,
was
the
hard.
better. But then the triple threat that you were talking about the year before, where it's Asuka, Charlotte, and Becky, and then Ronda gets involved to cost Becky the match, which not only gives Asuka her first championship after, you know, losing at WrestleMania 34, losing her streak to Charlotte Flair, the months on end where she's chasing Carmella in this title, chasing Charlotte Flair, chasing Becky Lynch, and she finally gets the title. And then it also sparks the genesis of Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, because later on, that's that Royal
Ooh.
Rumble that Becky ends up winning, and then she's like, "Yo, Ronnie, I'm coming back for you. You fucking cost me the title again."
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love them a lot. Yeah, Asuka coming through definitely changed everything. It solidified a lot of things. Can we go back a little bit? Actually, not a little bit. Let's go back a lot because I want to
Take
talk
me
about
back. Take me back.
the
Take me
very
back.
first WrestleMania
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
how a women's match was just as marquee as honestly, I think it was probably the biggest thing because like Andre and Hogan happened in WrestleMania 3.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 1 was all about the rock and wrestling connection that had all to do with Cyndi Lauper, Wendi Richter. Do you guys agree?
What this was the I would say it was the semi-main event or co-main event, honestly.
It was
When you
huge.
when you think about, oh man, see, this is one of the episodes because my uncle is still the only person, shout out to my Uncle Troy, that I know who WrestleMania 1 is like his favorite WrestleMania. And I'm gonna assume because he could take himself back to he's probably 11, 12 around the time. Um like I like remember we was talking about it and he was like, man, it just felt like such a big deal, you know. And then when you go back and you watch the documentaries, you could see it, but obviously we didn't live it. But yeah, definitely, you know, you talking about championship match, you talking about Cyndi Lauper who had got into it, and oh man, what's the dude's name who hit her? And it was like it sparked the controversy. But you talk about MTV.
Mm-hmm.
MTV and WWF at the
Huge.
time. Huge. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. Match just as important as the main event with Hogan and Mr. T.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And people may not want to admit that. Yeah, you of course you needed, you know, Hogan and Mr. T
Right.
to sell out the arena, but like this was just as important.
Right. Can we can I just say something real quick? And it's kind of off topic, but now that we're talking about the co-main events of the very first WrestleMania, they're all about actors, pop culture figures being involved. Why are
Mm-hmm.
people upset when WWE includes celebrities? When that's really always kind of been, you know, the vein of especially WrestleMania. So
Oh,
like
let's
I
talk
don't
about
you
it.
know what I mean? Like why is there
Mm-hmm.
like outrage when that's really what the fucking first iteration of it was getting the rub off of
I'm gonna tell
entertainment
you.
and pop culture.
I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Because nowadays people forgot that one, WWE is a entertainment company and not a professional wrestling company. Wrestling is the forefront, but like people forget, like it's also gatekeeping, right?
Right.
Wrestling fans want to be looked at as cool, but then they don't want too many people liking their wrestling. You know what I mean? No,
Getting
they can't be a part
involved.
of our wrestling. And when you have like we the type of people we love for everybody to be watching, right? We want to
Mm-hmm.
see because that means You know, how often we get excited, we walk down the street, see somebody with a NWO shirt on, a Austin 316 shirt on, we're gonna give them a too sweet, we're gonna give them, you know, something. And you know, and it's maybe, depending on how we feel, spark up a conversation, right? Well, those wrestling nerds or people under, you know, that's in their basement or their closets, they don't like that. They only want to talk about it via the keyboard. Yeah, because you know, everybody ain't in the basement. Some people just in the closets. And so they want to just sit back behind their keyboards. You're like, oh man, what they say? I gotta listen to Justin Rich, that guy who does great numbers on YouTube. I gotta go out, listen to him, and go outside and touch grass. What do you mean? What do you mean go outside and touch grass? So because of that, so they want to gatekeep their wrestling, right? And then they want to say, oh, I know more wrestling than you because I watch New Japan and I watch Stardom and I watch Progress and all these big deal. Cool.
Good for you. I'm happy you watch a lot of wrestling.
Exactly. But we understand the business. At the end of the day, the WWE does not make money from people sitting behind their keyboards, right? They make money when they have families. It's the reason why Vince went PG. Now go listen to this week's episode of Masked Man Show. Brian Gewirtz was on there. He even said he hated when they went PG, but it was necessary. He said he understood, like Vince McMahon, because it was also it wasn't like it was a gradual change. It was just like boom. You know, Edge said that the Hell in a Cell match, him and Undertaker had a whole match plan. It was gonna have blood and all this. Vince said no blood. So they don't understand that, and they're not the ones that spend their money. The ones who's complaining the loudest aren't the ones that spend their money.
Right. That's such a good point.
And like me, I've never been to I've never been to a rap concert. I've got rap concerts for free at WrestleMania. If you tell somebody Lil Uzi Vert gonna be performing at WrestleMania, what you think they're gonna tune in on Peacock if they get to see him?
Oh yeah.
You know, and what does that do? That drops Peacock numbers up. So now WWE can say to NBC, hey, we're gonna have this one, this one, this one. We want more money. We want billions of dollars in order to carry our program.
And then just to piggyback off of that is like those same people that are behind your keyboard complaining and all that shit. Y'all don't do your Googles because you have the internet right at your capability. You have Peacock right at your capability where you can just go look this up. You know, WrestleMania 1 is 1985. I'm born a couple months after this event. This is Madison Square Garden. This is the Mecca. This is where WWE called home base for a long time. And then you have your co-main is this women's match. So it tells you right off the jump, and including your main event is Mr. fucking T. So WWE told you who they were from the jump. You just got in your heads of, well, we like the wrestling part of it, but we want to ignore the entertainment part. It's like, nah, this is WWE. It's a package deal. Like, I remember we talked about this on previous fan clubs where I'll talk about WrestleMania 7 where Alex Trebek pulls up, Regis Philbin pulls up, Macaulay Culkin pulls up, Marlon Maples pulls up. Donald Trump hosted WrestleMania for 2 straight years at Atlantic City on his fucking property. Like, WWE's been told you we're about crossover, we're about MTV, we're about mainstream.
Hey, Justin, one of my favorite parts, Ted Turner, hey, Vince, I'm in the wrestling business. And what did Vince say? Oh, good, Ted. Because I'm not. I'm in the sports entertainment business.
And exactly. And why did Vince go PG? Because Vince took the company public. It's a publicly traded company. You can buy stock and invest in WWE, which is why, yes, we got to make it PG because no one wants. Why am I going to buy stock in a company where I'm seeing fucking blood like it's a Saw movie? It's like, nah, I got kids. I can't always watch.
I got kids.
Sorry.
I got
another
kids.
One. Tonight, guess what they're doing? Texas Chainsaw. This is a Texas Chainsaw night on AEW, and they're doing a death match. Guess between one of the greatest of all time. Ain't he great? Jeff Jarrett. He'll be taking on Jeff Hardy.
Oh, you said death match. I immediately thought John Moxley because
John
Moxley
I literally thought that's what you were gonna say.
I was surprised, and y'all know last week I said I was not feeling the Young Bucks and the Hardys match at all. Like it was, I felt the way Justin felt about the women's match for Monday. But
I'm about to say, how I felt about the women's match just like 10 times for that one. But continue.
Yeah, but I feel like with Jeff Jarrett gonna carry it because he don't get his props. You know, I'm gonna ask Queen PR, EP live. on there. Can we do a Jeff Jarrett appreciation night?
Absolutely.
Because I want to talk about him. I want to talk about his grandmother and his father. Like, if
I
we could
love
do it.
all of that.
Yeah, because he don't get his
put it
props.
in the notes.
wait, whoa,
Put it in the notes.
Did you just see? No, hold on. You ain't gotta show your
Hella
show right. Like, I was like, yo. Oh man. Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston and John Moxley show and not looking at each other. Yo, it's like what I like about Eddie. Yo, he look like he don't care. Like everything looks real and intense with him. Eddie Kingston.
Oh yeah.
I know.
I love it.
It's
He's
New
with
York
the
and,
shits. But yeah, just to put a bow on the WrestleMania 1 and that match, like, yo, kids, just do your Googles. It's that simple. You have the internet. We didn't have this at that time. We had to actually pull up and watch, Superstars, Saturday Night Main Event. We had to physically order WrestleMania Royal Rumble on either the cable box or call it the fuck in.
nah,
You
that's what
have all
a
this
device called a
accessible,
phone that stuck to the wall.
or
And
sometimes had the rotary.
I ain't that old.
It's like, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, look this shit up. This is how WWE's been. So if you don't like celebrities in wrestling, too fucking bad.
That's why I never get mad at the WrestleMania card. If like and maybe because I'm fortunate that my favorite wrestler right now is the number one wrestler of all time. Than the guy at the head of the table. The reason why we eating real good. But I don't get mad when certain people left off the card because at the end of the day, he says everybody can't be champion. Everybody can't be at WrestleMania. We saw that at
Right.
SummerSlam. Shoot, and so you gotta. It's going to bring more eyeballs to the product. You look what Bianca did. She coming out there. She had the C4. That was important. LA Knight, Slim Jim commercial.
Huge.
These are the things that allows WWE to put on better product, put on a better show, gives you money. This is what's going to get you the discounts at the stores because when the business is booming, they say, all right, we can lower the price a little bit.
Do you like Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman pulling up on ESPN First Take? Do you like Charlotte Flair pulling up on Fox? Do you like watching Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and your champions from WrestleMania pulling up on Good Morning America? There's a method to the madness.
No, I don't need them to be my champions. I'm still salty about that because I ruined the bloodline.
Shall we acknowledge, always.
Bro, one of the biggest shows in MTV's history during that heyday was Celebrity Deathmatch, where Stone Cold Steve Austin was the fucking commentary.
That was, oh God, I remember that. That's iconic.
I didn't have cable at the time. I remember coming to school the next day. Wow, you just laughed at me. I got laughed at.
No,
I'm not laughing, but
I wasn't laughing like that.
No, but I remember coming to school the next day and shout out to brother Hugh. He was saying, yeah, Stone Cold was facing this. I'm like, what are you talking about? It was this thing, and he was talking about Celebrity Deathmatch, but like, yo, what up, Letty?
Letty.
And I just like didn't understand it. But then you go home and then later on you see they had video games, like Justin says, the number one thing, and everybody wanted a piece of WWF for that reason. That's the reason why they still in business. You know what I mean? Like I always said that if WCW would have won the war, and Triple H finally, he said exactly what I've been saying for years. He said it during the press conference. He said, people can say what they want. He said, but roller derby used to be one of the most popular shows on TV. It don't come on no more.
Right.
There's still roller derby sessions, but it doesn't come on TV like that no more. If it wasn't for Vince McMahon, and yeah, does he have issues? Absolutely. But if it wasn't for him and his group, I should say, we wouldn't have wrestling on. Like WCW, we saw what happened there. All I say is watch heels. Pay attention to heels.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff you'll see in there, and what I'm talking about.
Very much so. They go back and they really show like what it really takes to like capture people in a way where they want to be invested for generations and generations and generations. And I'm excited for, there's not a lot more that the women can do for the first time, but I'm excited for them creating their own moments because they have all of this to carve out. They just did the new iteration of the championship belts. That's officially that next era which is we should really be proud of it because we can look back on not the Divas title, but there was a whole era of these two championships that had all of these history making matches, and now you have Rhea Ripley as the new champion. You had Asuka and Io Sky now. The diversity alone, it just opens up more doors. The more women that step in the ring, the more women that make history, the more that opens up the door for other women to do like really amazing things. To where now, because of social media, because of podcasting and YouTubing and all that stuff, yeah, you may not give, Wendi Richter enough, flowers outside of like WrestleMania, but like her fans will, the Melina world, like we will acknowledge that. The Beth Phoenix. We want you to come back solo. We want you to do your own thing. We want you to face off with, the top woman right now, one of them being Rhea Ripley. All of this is like new territory for us, and which is why like I am still hooked on wrestling because I'm like, yo, there's so much more that the women can do. And they still feel stifled, which is so interesting. Like even after all the history we just talked about, main event WrestleMania, there's still a sense that not enough time is given, not enough care is given. They're still the same people, but I do feel like we also made progress.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm glad that we were able to look
we
back.
would never have considered any of this like years ago. Even during Trish and Lita, we still wouldn't have considered women main event in a WrestleMania.
And it's a reason.
Like crazy.
Yeah, it's a reason if Trish Stratus comes back, right? She did all that she had to do. She's made millions of dollars. Her name is iconic in and out of wrestling. And it has to be something said for her to say, like, oh no, I'm gonna come back because I want to work with these ladies and I want to do that. You can hear Summer Rae said the locker room is different than what it was when she was there. You know what I mean? And it's a fun time to be a wrestling fan, but certainly definitely a fun time to be a women's wrestling fan. I remember when I used to have to get on, I mentioned like the torrent sites and stuff to find Shimmer, and just to see people like, she'd come make her return tonight, Allie, who was Cherry Bomb at the time, to see the Iconics before they were the Iconics, but just to see them. And I was like, oh wow, these women are skilled, Athena. I remember the first time I seen the O-Face, I was like, wow, you mean to tell me a top rope stunner? That is crazy. So
we should do, I don't know if we did it, but we should do a fan club on like iconic finishers.
We have not.
I will add that to the list.
That would be a really good fun fan club because I want to know some of the everyone else's favorites, because you have the one section of the wrestling fan community that's all about like, realism and, all that kind of stuff. And then you have the ones that just like fun stuff like the Rock Bottom because of the theatrics of it all, So there's so many different ways that we can go with that. And especially with women, because you have to get creative. You have to stand out. You have to. What's the one move that they all do though?
The eat the feet.
What?
The eat the feet.
What's
that one? Oh, I guess that ain't it.
Where they take
where they take their hold on, come here.
Come
I was talking about my daughter. Come here.
Oh my god.
No, I'm playing. But no, like they put their foot on their chin and then just fall backwards.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I feel like that's the easy like go to.
I know what you're talking about. It's almost like a chin breaker.
Yeah, but they hold their hands, put their feet up on their chin, and then fall back.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Also, but what move was you thinking?
I was thinking the one. Damn, I can't think of the name of it for some reason right now. But they plant their head in between their legs. Everyone did it.
The X Factor?
Yes. No. Is it the X Factor?
Pedigree, powerbomb.
Because the X Factor is definitely another one.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. No, but everyone used to make fun of it because all the women used to do it, and I cannot fucking think of what it is right now.
I know. Well, another one. We're
definitely gonna do
Canadian Destroyer, unfortunately.
Yeah, Andre, thank you for that. Yeah, we're definitely gonna do that. Maybe next week, maybe the week after, for sure. But can I ask you guys a question before we close out fan club?
Sure.
Because I'm curious, and I really would love if CRISTA B did a sound off on this. But Macy, formerly known as Lacey Evans,
Oh boy.
no longer is with WWE. So she's in the alumni section. She took everything off her socials. She was posting things about new beginnings, the whole usual shit. Do you guys feel like at any point in time that she had potential or promise to do more than she ended up doing in the company?
I didn't connect with her. I didn't dislike her. It's just like every wrestler's not for me. I didn't connect with her at all. I thought she was cool. I thought she was a good hand. I think at one point the Southern Belle was probably okay. I'd like the women's right. I felt like she was that heel that I wanted to see get beat up. Not necessarily. I didn't want to see her off my screen, but I wanted to see like somebody just like really like take it to her. But after that, through all the gimmick changes and stuff, I think that's what really hurt her. When I look back at it, but I just didn't connect with her. I don't think they dropped the ball on her at all, though. I just think it just didn't work. She could have benefited from going to NXT, but I think maybe she might not have wanted to, or maybe they just was over it. She was over it. The relationship may have soured. I don't know. But I think like looking at what Dana Brooke is doing, she could have definitely benefited from going down there and getting repackaged.
So I know I'll be getting my jokes off and I'll be trolling at times on social media, but I'm gonna be nice about this. So Brian put it perfect. Lacey Evans wasn't my cup of tea, and a lot of that had to do with she didn't really bring a lot to the main roster. I feel like Vince hot shot her to the show before she was ready. I feel like she was someone that needed to stay in NXT for a while because her skill set was very raw and unpolished and needed to be more smoothed out. But, Vince has a type. And unfortunately, this is one of those where it's like, all right, let's call someone up because now that Becky's double champion, we need her to feud with someone. She's feuded with Charlotte for months and months and months. You kind of got to get her away from Asuka. Ronda's going away for a while because Ronda wanted to start a family at that time. Why not bring Lacey Evans up? The problem was Lacey wasn't ready. And this is one of those typical
Yeah.
Vince is trying to shove things down our throats and trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Where Lacey wasn't ready. Now you're putting her in the main event picture with Becky Lynch. When you have other people who were right there that were more deserving, worked their ass off, wanted that shot, but it's almost like Lacey was just gifted opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Where let's put her with Becky Lynch, or years on down the road during the pandemic, it's like, yo, how about WrestleMania 37, Lacey Evans versus Charlotte Flair for the title, which we came this close to getting Lacey and Charlotte for the title instead of Asuka and Rhea Ripley. Like they tried to take that Raw Women's title from Asuka so many times, but it was like Lacey didn't get better in the ring. She didn't really get better on the mic. She was very limited in her skills, but WWE made it very abundantly clear. Like we are pushing Lacey Evans to the moon. We want her to be on the same level as the Horsewoman. We want her to be on the same level as Asuka. But it's like Lacey wasn't ready. She didn't really develop. There are other people that are more deserving. Like she needed to be in NXT for a while. And I don't know if that was a Lacey decision on she didn't want to go down there or a Vince decision because Vince had grander pictures for her and it just didn't fit. And it was one of those where it's like it overstayed its welcome a while ago. I'm not surprised we got to this point. I'm surprised it took this long to get to this point because it wasn't working. This wasn't it. And her being Lady Gaga, which is my running joke for the Sergeant Slaughter gimmick, is like that was like grasping at any straws trying to make this work. And it's like you guys have been very, short hook with other people, but you're trying literally everything in your power to make this work. And it's just not working. Like she either needs the indies, she needs NXT, or she needs to just do something else.
I was just gonna say, like, is wrestling even, does that need to be in her future? I don't know.
She's gorgeous with a body. She can always do OnlyFans if she wanted to. She can always
What?
do. She can always
Damn.
do. She can always do acting if she wants to. There are other
You
avenues
could
for
probably
her.
get into acting.
If she wants to wrestle, I say you really got to go hit the indies and learn your craft. Pull a Cody Rhodes, but you really need the indies more than Cody did. Cody just needed to do that to elevate his name. Lacey
Right.
needs to do that to actually learn her skill sets. What works, what doesn't work, what's more comfortable. Instead of it being in front of like 20,000 people, how about do it in front of like 50 to like 500 people where it might be more comfortable for you? Because that's the thing. It's like we take for granted where it's like you see people on WWE, you see people on AEW television. It's like it's not easy wrestling in front of like between 5,000 to 15,000 people on a weekly basis. Like
Right.
that's not easy to do. And some people, they may just get the yips. They may just get nervous. They may just not be that comfortable being like,
That's
oh
true.
shit, this is live in front of a lot of people, and if I fuck up, this is now going viral.
Right.
Yep.
For sure. And I think the other thing too with Lacey, I do feel like she was too green. I do feel like her character, the Southern Belle, and her athleticism, if she had gotten better every time she stepped in the ring, I think that could have definitely went far, because she was a good heel. The fan, how everyone was too nasty, the tissues, like all of that was like could have been really good if they like took it and ran with it, or if she like kind of developed a little bit more and they wanted to push her. They put her with fucking Becky Lynch at the height of the man. They wanted her, but there was no chemistry. She didn't have that
They put it with
wrestling
Sasha and Becky before the
instinct.
pandemic hit.
Yeah. Yep, 1,000%. She didn't have that instinct. You could tell like a lot of the workers didn't enjoy working with her. Like there's matches where Becky is like visibly frustrated when Lacey's not in a spot where she needs to be. She's not the timing of things. And that really is just like you said, Justin, it comes with experience. That comes with being in the ring a lot, like mixing up a lot. She was not ready to come up to the main roster yet. And I think and then WWE like forcing her down our throats, like that combination, like make it make sense. Like let her be fucking good as fuck and then push her down our throats. And it's like, okay, we get it. But then it's like, okay, she's mixing up with Becky Lynch, but she's green. Like it just doesn't make sense. Oh, that Lacey and Charlotte match. Whew.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God. God intervened. He's like, nah, Charlotte, you can sit one out. I'm gonna give you COVID or whatever it is. Lacey, go have a baby. Nah, because you gotta also remember, like, look at the time. This is when Sasha, Bayley, and Asuka put the company on their fucking back for months on end. Sasha was getting her main event with Bianca Belair. They were trying to figure out something for Bayley. It just unfortunately didn't crystallize, because I remember the rumors were Bayley was going to do something with the Bella Twins, but couldn't. But then Asuka was going to get the short end of the stick again, and this is something that happened to her at WrestleMania 35, where they didn't figure out they wanted to do Asuka and Mandy Rose, and then at the last second they pulled the plug on that match, and then took the title off Asuka to give it to Charlotte, so then the main event could be winner take all. So it's like, I don't want to see Asuka continually get the short end of the stick in favor of someone else that the company has eyes for.
Yo, real
That's
quick.
the only time Asuka got to go into WrestleMania as a champion.
And I know we watch AEW as a family. Don Callis just turned on Chris Jericho now.
Don Callis is doing the Lord's work because Jericho just had receipts.
It's funny because Jericho unveiled a photo, and it was the photo of Don Callis like having like Jericho's head in his hand, like somebody like created. It looked like something from Mortal Kombat, but it also takes you back to when Jericho looked at the list and from Kevin Owens. He's like, why is my name on here?
Oh,
I guess you could say Don Callis had Judas on his mind.
Yeah, this is. He said you done turned on Kenny Omega, and now you done turned on me. Yeah, this is wild. But this is Ospreay.
Can we do a fan club on our favorite storylines of all time?
It's happening right now. But yeah, excluding that one, right?
Of all
because this
that's like several stories in one.
No.
Because you have the different chapters. You got the Sami Zayn chapter. You got the pandemic chapter. You got Jimmy's a bitch chapter.
Let's manifest something. We will be in the DVDs and the documentaries.
Ooh, I would love to manifest that.
Of course.
Yeah, we will be in it. And you need to be, because just know, I don't want to say it and then somebody like take the idea and do something else. I'm going to put it in the group chat. But we're not going to put this in the we're not going to put this on public, because we ain't going to regurgitate this. We can put it in the fan club chat, because this will go away after 7 days. Which means but because but this is why you need to be in there. I don't want to put it on the screen, so if they watch it right now, they'll see. Because That's the reason why we need you in there. Nobody else can do that, but we definitely need to be in there because this story right here, we live in it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm definitely, I would definitely be down, man. I mean, we got
There's so many stories.
so many stories because there's certain ones that just like make you feel good, like which
Yeah.
ones take you emotional ride, like the Yes movement.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. I want to know what some of the other members of the fan club
That's what I
with
was,
their
yeah.
favorite storylines of all time. We can go one modern, one back in the day, so we can really reminisce, be nostalgic freaks. Y'all listen to Wednesday Worldwide.
Bro, Cal was wrong.
Worldwide.
Cal was just like, because
Ain't
at
you
first,
on that show?
like I'm sitting there and he just goes like, yeah, because people want to be nostalgic freaks, all the nostalgic freaks. I'm like, wait, what did you just say? And then Ben is like, wow, he's talking about me. The thing is, and for context, we wanted we feel that The Rock's last match cannot have been against Eric Rowan. He needs to say, like, when he write the history of The Rock, you're gonna say Stone Cold Kevin Owens, you're gonna say Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. We don't count Australia. Insert Will Smith. When you think of
The neuralizer.
yeah, when you think of Ric Flair, you don't think about the stuff afterwards. It's Shawn Michaels, right? So the Rocks need to be Roman Reigns. Like no offense to Eric Rowan, but no.
But there's a reason why that Eric Rowan match was 5 seconds, because we remember before that it was John Cena and The Rock ripping all of his ab muscles in the first 5 minutes.
But nobody
which is why The
would've
Rock hasn't wrestled again like that. Because I was like, absolutely the fuck not. Because you
that
know
was still a good match.
how long we pushed back Hercules because of that shit.
So what? He's a wrestler first. It was still a good match. Like those Rock Cena matches smack. And when you in the building, like the Miami shook. And I know a lot of people. This is the first time where I've ever been at a show where it was divisive on how the people who were there live versus the people who watched it felt. Was WrestleMania 28. Because I'm like, everybody coming out of the arena, everybody or the stadium, and is on this crazy high, right? And I don't check my phone because, as always, I was driving the rental car, and so by the time we got back to the hotel, I checked my phone and I see like people are upset, and I'm like, wait, what's wrong? That match was terrible. This, that, and the other. So that's when I saw divisiveness. But I see what you're saying, Justin. But yeah, we need Rock and Roman. But yeah, nostalgia freaks. Make sure y'all check out this week's episode of Wednesday Worldwide.
I mean, I would be okay with it. It's a matter of, is Hollywood going to let The Rock do that? They're going to be like, yo, you want to go back to $7?
He'll never. He will never go back to $7. The Rock will lose $100 million and he'll still be fine.
That's true.
Very true.
Is true. Maybe we'll see him back. But let us know what you guys want us to cover next week. We came up with some ideas.
Do the storylines.
Want to do storylines?
Yeah,
okay,
we
now
our
got me
favorite
thinking.
storylines.
Yeah, let's do that.
So everyone's homework tonight is for fan club. You don't gotta do it tonight. For next week's fan club is to come to the fan club with your 2 favorite storylines of all time. One from the past eras and one from the more modern era. Of course, I would love a women's storyline, but if not, that's fine too. I just want to know. I want to reminisce. I want to be a nostalgic freak, and I want to go back and talk about all our favorite storylines and what made them pop. Because every storyline don't hit. Every storyline not memorable. Every storyline isn't one that you can refer back to and quote to and all that kind of stuff. And there's also those storylines that hooked you. Like if you listen to those wrestling girls, Krista B and I always talk about how the storylines in the Attitude Era, we were mesmerized by them. We were lost in our imagination. And that is what makes wrestling special and what makes it better than sports in a way. Because not only are you admiring athleticism, but you're also getting to know characters, you're getting to know stories, you're getting to follow these things. The bloodline's been going on 3+ years now, and we're all in, and there's so many iterations of it, which makes this all so entertaining and fun to watch. So yes, Andre, don't forget to send me your address, and it does go towards your final grade. So I don't think y'all want to play with that. So
I was gonna say, as we get ready to close out, can we give a shout out and send all the love and positive vibes into the new school year to Victor Perry and the wrestling club.
Yeah,
He's
shout out
always
to
been a supporter of ours, of every one of us
shout out
here.
to For Your Wear too. I have on
Mm-hmm.
the summer sleigh shirts
Yeah, shout
Absolutely.
out Blue.
to close out the summer. They just signed Seahawk. You can get
Yeah.
his merch there, as well as a whole bunch of other people's. The wrestling club, breaking through glass ceilings. There is a lot of stuff on there.
Including that shirt right there.
Yes, I love that one. Thanks for the photo.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Rakarsha, I'm excited. This is what I love about fan club. What I love about wrestling too, because it's impossible to know everything. It's
Facts.
impossible to be an expert on everything. So you come to the fan club, you learn, you discover, you get to evolve as a wrestling fan, and then you get to tell other people. Bring another person to the fan club. Hashtag TWG fan
Oh,
club. We're here every Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Twitch. What's up?
I got an idea. We should have a final exam. We should have a final
Oh.
exam for the fan club. I haven't gone as far as putting together the structure yet.
I was like, do you
Imagine,
care to elaborate? But we'll let it brew and then you'll
yeah.
let us know. Justin will be ready to take notes.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that. And I love all of our VIPs for coming through. This is why I love Wednesdays, my favorite day of the week. I want to shout out my other half, KRISTA B. Seindole, send her some love. She couldn't make it tonight, but she will hopefully be back with us next Wednesday. If you're in Queens at the House of Glory show, come say hi to me and her. We will be there. Shout out to Black Thoughts and all of our Black wrestling community that's out there. Shout out to Bougie,
Yep.
just cuz.
He
Hashtag
getting heat on
everything
Twitter right
bougie.
now. So y'all
He
leave him
is
alone.
Hashtag Father
mixing it
Bougie.
up.
Fuck
Papa
beyond. I'm
Bougie.
just saying.
I'm with you, Andre. Give me a final essay. But no, I do want to. I want to hear some of your favorite, storylines, and I wanted to show why. I want the silly ones, even the silly ones. Like I want all of that.
Please don't
Okay.
nobody say Katie Vick.
Say what?
Please
Oh
don't say
God,
Katie
no.
Vick.
That's in the box. That is completely in the
Okay.
box.
Throw it in there already before we
Yes.
even get there.
Anything that has to do with necrophilia, I think it's
Mhm.
safe to say we could put in the box. Might have
Hey,
to
yo,
bleep that on
what?
YouTube. Oh, the Katie Vick stuff.
Yeah.
I got some Googling to do.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. So yeah, everybody gonna be learning about all the crazy storylines in wrestling because that's what this is all about. But where can everybody find you guys?
You can find me on all social media platforms at It's Justin Rich. You can catch me on my YouTube channel for Justin Rich Talks, where I got a bunch of different reviews reviewing major pay-per-views. I just did one this week for WWE SummerSlam that y'all can pull up. It's doing some very solid numbers. I'm proud of it. Y'all can go check that out. You can catch me here on Twitch Wednesday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Those Wrestling Girls Twitch channel for TWG Fan Club. Myself, Queen PR, Brian H. Word, Seindole B. These three beautiful, illustrious, amazing co-hosts of mine. I'm just so blessed to be working with y'all. You can catch me Tuesday nights, Twitter Spaces around 6:35 p.m. for a Turnbuckle Talk with me and Corey. We talk all things wrestling. You can also catch me from time to time on True Heel Heat Sports and True Heel Heat Wrestling. Both of those channels are located on YouTube where we talk sports, wrestling, and all that fun stuff. Your boy's been doing a lot of live streams and watch alongs on the True Heel Heat channel. I just did a 9-hour stream this weekend
Sheesh.
watching AEW Collision, watching Triple Mania for the first time. My first time watching Triple Mania, and it was incredible. And watching the finals of the G1 Climax. My boy Naito coming through with the dub. Gonna be main eventing Wrestle Kingdom unless Gato fucks this up. But we've been very busy. We here, we outside, we active. Siendo, we love you.
All right, so you can find me this week, Mass Man Show, produced, where you can catch the Dave and Kaz conversation with Brian Gewirtz. You can get a very cool insight on his book, especially where he talks about when CM Punk, when The Rock called CM Punk on the phone while WWE was in the middle of a lawsuit, and what Triple H said to him backstage as it was happening. Make sure you also check me out Wednesday Worldwide, where we talked about CM Punk's backstage drama, as well as answered a few phone calls on the Wednesday Worldwide hotline And tonight on the WrestleMania Now podcast, we are going to talk about some of the biggest betrayals in wrestling.
Ooh.
I can't wait. So be there, jump in the comment section, let us know what your biggest betrayals is. But y'all know, follow me at Brian H. Waters everywhere, as I'm here each week, as my sister would say, with the 3 best friends that anybody can have. I ain't do it just like her, but that's how I send my love to her.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I want to shout out Pablo the Don, CRISTINA. Our Thirsty Thursday last week was fun as well. We celebrated Leo season. Brian H. Waters popped through. We did some Detroit recap. We spilled all the SummerSlam tea. So that is available on YouTube if you weren't able to come through. The summer was wild.
Best
and
summer ever.
it really was an amazing summer. CRISTA and I might do a little reminiscing recap in the summer Patreon session. So stay tuned for that. It's $1 a month. Like, support. It's cool content. YouTube content every.
Oh no, it froze, but she was saying YouTube content every week. Make sure y'all check out this week. They will have Seahawk, so y'all make sure y'all check out that episode, as she's still frozen.
Not to mention, previous episodes of TWG Fan Club are also on YouTube.
Oh, there she go. She back.
The whole time I was like, yeah, so my Wi-Fi is fucking up. I'm just like in the Firefly Funhouse. But yeah, check us out. Follow us. We have a lot going on. Support the Patreon, support the crew, support the community. Yeah, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern with the crew. Hashtag TWG Fan Club. And we are out.